Hi, I'm Saddam Hussein. Welcome back once again to Cbse Board Economics. Today we'll be discussing another very important topic in the measurement of national income accounting. We always come across the problem of double counting while calculating national income, how to avoid it. What exactly is the problem of double counting? As you know, if we take the value of a commodity more than once while calculating national income, it leads to the problem of double counting. What it means, let's take an example to explain it. For example, if you are taking the value of sugarcane, sugarcane is an intermediate good, and with the help of sugarcane, we make sugar. So when we take the value of sugar, we should not take the value of sugarcane because obviously the value of sugarcane is included in the value of sugar. So if you take the value of sugarcane and sugar, it leads to the problem of double counting. So it may happen many times, maybe triple counting, 4 times, 5 times, depending on stage of production. So, what exactly is the problem of double counting? Counting the value of a commodity more than once while calculating national income leads to the problem of double counting. That is, we discussed in our example, we should take the value of sugar and not the value of sugar cane. If you take another example, we should take the value of shoes and not the value of leather that has gone into it. We should take the value of furniture and not the value of wood because it's already included in it. So that means we should take the value of only final goods. Now let's come to how to avoid the problem of double counting. There are two ways of avoiding the problem of double counting. One, I just discussed it. We should take the value of only final goods and not the value of intermediate goods because the value of intermediate goods is already included in the value of final goods. Like in our earlier example, the value of sugarcane is already included in the value of sugar. The value of leather is already included in the value of the bag. The value of wood is included in the value of furniture. So that is the first method of avoiding the problem of taking the value of only final good. The second method of avoiding the value of double counting is to take value addition at each stage of production. So let's take an example here. Here we assume there is a farmer, he produced wheat and sold it for rupees 100 to a miller. And miller converted it into flour and sold it to baker. Baker converted it into bread and sold it to the shopkeeper, and shopkeeper finally sold the bread to the consumer for rupees 500. So here if you take the value of the final good is 500, you should take the value of final good bread, that is 500, or we take the value addition each stage of production as shown in our table. So we'll be explaining that with the help of a table. So we'll come back. Let's once again I repeat what is given here. The problem of double counting is measurement of national income accounting and how to avoid it. Counting the value of a commodity more than once while calculating national income leads to the problem of double counting. For example, taking the value of sugarcane and sugar leads to the problem of double counting because the value of sugarcane is already included in the value of sugar. Methods of avoiding the problem of double counting. There are two methods of avoiding the problem of double counting. One, take the value of final goods and not the value of intermediate goods. In the earlier example, we should take the value of only the final good sugar and not the value of intermediate good sugar cane. 2. Take value added at each stage of production. We know that value added is equal to value of output minus intermediate consumption expenditure. In the below table, farmer sold wheat to miller for rupees 100, and we assume here his intermediate consumption expenditure is 0, and hence his value addition is rupees 100. Miller converted wheat into flour and sold it for 200. Hence, he made value addition of rupees 100. Baker purchased flour and made bread and sold it for rupees 300 to shopkeeper. The shopkeeper sold the bread to the consumer for rupees 500 for final consumption. Hence, we should take the value of final good rupees 500 or add up the value addition at each stage of production. As you can see here, the farmer has made a value addition of rupees 100 and miller has made a value addition of rupees 100 and the baker rupees 100. Shopkeeper made 200 as shown in the table. So look at this table carefully. Farmer, he produced wheat and sold it value of output for 100, and we assumed here his intermediate consumption expenditure is 0, so his gross value addition is 100. Miller purchased this wheat from the farmer for 100, he converted into flour and sold it for 200, so his value addition is 100. Baker, he purchased flour from the miller for 200 and sold the bread for 300. And shopkeeper purchased bread from the baker for 300 and sold it to the final consumers for 500, so his value addition is 200. As you can see here, if you take the gross value of output as rupees 1100, it leads to a lot of double counting here, because we can see here wheat has been counted here 1, 2, 3, 4 times, flour 3 times. So this is called problem of double counting. We should take the value, not the value of output, minus intermediate consumption expenditure, gross value added, this is 200. So in the above table, 500 is the value of final good purchased by the consumers, or the value added at each stage of production is also rupees 500. From the economist's point of view, we can say that GDP is equal to rupees 500. Now to sum it up, I once again repeat all the concepts. Here we are discussing about double counting, how we can avoid the problem of double counting while calculating national income. Double counting is always bad because it won't give a real picture of GDP, it will give a wrong, exaggerated picture. That's why we should avoid the problem of double counting. What double counting means? Counting the value of a commodity more than once while calculating national income leads to the problem of double counting. How we can avoid the problem of double counting? There are two methods of avoiding the problem of double counting. Number one, we should take the value of only final goods and not the value of intermediate goods. For example, we should take the value of only sugar and not the value of sugar cane, because the value of sugar cane is already included in the value of sugar. Number two, take value added at each stage of production. As we have seen in the table, here we have taken an example of a farmer. He produced wheat and sold it for 100. Since his intermediate consumption expenditure is 0, his value addition is 100, because gross value of output minus intermediate consumption expenditure is the formula. A farmer sold wheat to miller for 100. Miller converted wheat into flour and sold it for 200. So his value addition is 100. Miller sold flour to the baker for 200. So this 200 will become the intermediate consumption expenditure of the baker. Baker made bread and sold it for 300 to the shopkeeper. So baker made a value addition of rupees 100. Ultimately, the shopkeeper who purchased bread from the baker for 300, of course, which becomes his intermediate consumption expenditure, sold it for 500, and then finally the consumers have consumed it, so that will be the final good. So in this case, we should take the value of only rupees 500, or we should take value added at each stage of production as shown here. This is value addition made by the farmer is 100, made by the miller is 100, made by the baker is 100, and the shopkeeper's value addition is 200, so it comes out to be 500. So ultimately we proved either we should take the value of only final goods or take the value addition at each stage of production. If we think this is the economy and only these transactions are taking place, we can say here this 500 will become the GDP, gross domestic product. So that's all we have in this topic. I'm sure you must have followed it very nicely. In case of any doubts, please leave your comments in the comment box. So please don't forget to share this with your friends, comment, like, and subscribe our channel for future videos. Till we meet next time, it's goodbye from Saddam Hussein. Bye bye. Best of luck for your board exams.